Coming up in today's programme, a Devon primary school travels around the world in a day, learns a few tips for survival and helps to save the planet. With more emphasis on literacy and numeracy, other subjects in the school curriculum are under pressure. One of the casualties in primary schools has been the nature table. It's ironic that at a time when biodiversity itself is under attack in the world at large, there is less time to study it in the classroom. The Eden Project is an attempt to redress the balance, and it is now one of the most popular visitor attractions in the country. One of the basic tenets of the Eden Project is that the best place to learn about nature is not in the laboratory, but in the field.
The first thing for the children is the sensory experience of being in the tropical rainforest. They get hot, they get bothered. It's as real as you're going to get without going there. The sense of size, the heat, the smell, the atmosphere. It's pretty good.
Eden's unique as an educational resource because it's real. You can take children around the world in a day. You can take them to the rainforest, you can take them to the Mediterranean, you can take them to their own environments as well. It's not just individual plants with labels and lots of signage boards, it's actually immersing people in a real environment. You can see a cocoa small holding with cocoa pods growing on trees and actually get to touch them and look inside and relate it to the chocolate that you eat. And it's all about connecting children to their environment, so it's a real concept and not something abstract and far away. So when you talk about conservation and you talk about sustainability, it actually means something to them because they're emotionally connected to it.
Year 6 of Gampton Primary School have come to the Eden Project with their teacher Annette Smith for a science and geography workshop.
We had an article that came through from the Eden Project, and they were actually offering Don't Forget Your Leech Socks, which I thought we would be very interested in doing because we're actually studying the rainforest in Year 6 this term to do with our dance curriculum, our art curriculum and geography and science.
We've got lots of plants that you use every single day.
Leading the workshop is Eden's own expert guide, Sam Kendall.
The Don't Forget Your Leech Socks workshop is for older Key Stage 2 children. It looks at basically how we're dependent on plants through a narrative that's about surviving in the tropical rainforest. Are they life-threatening leeches? No. Leech socks are very stylish pieces of equipment that you wear over your shoes and the bottom of your trouser legs. They're like kind of large Christmas stockings with a string round the top. So you put them on over your sandals and the bottom of your trousers, tie them up tightly just under the knee, and apparently they stop the leeches from getting through your lace holes and in your socks. Stylish! How cool are they going to be? Brilliant.
Before their adventure in the rainforest can begin, the class gets hands-on experience of what to expect.
Have a look at these plants and think about how you could use them for food, water and shelter. A tent peg, good idea.
Lighting a fire stuff.
Firelight, a very good idea. After they've practiced with some real plants and things in the education centre, they head off to the tropical rainforest to go and seek out useful plants. And does anybody recognise this plant?
Is it banana?
Well done, it's a banana plant. So this one would be good for food and water and shelter, wouldn't it?
If you suddenly found yourself in the middle of a rainforest, the first thing that would hit you was the heat, because it's usually incredibly hot. The second thing would be the humidity.
A former teacher himself, Mike Linley has spent the last 20 years filming wildlife. To him, the tropical rainforest is a treasure house of delights.
The next thing will hit you is the smell, because the smell of leaf mould and rotting vegetation and flowers hit you really, really strongly.
It smells well nice.
Rainforests appear very, very dark because all the leaves above you are trying to get to the light, and in doing so will shade everything below it. And most of the animals that live there do so in sort of a twilight world. And of course at night it's even darker.
It's called the Traveller's Palm, and you could use it for shelter, couldn't you? You start off in the Oceanic Islands, and then you move on into Southeast Asia and Malaysia, where there's a Malaysian house with a garden behind it. And then you wind higher and it starts to get hotter and you feel the humidity more.
There's some little chilies over there, little orange.
And then you enter into our West African area, and again there's a combination of wild areas of some cultivated land, and there's a little rondavel, an African house, and then you reach the highest and hottest point of the rainforest where it's much lighter, and you can walk right across past our waterfall where you can then have the unique experience really of looking down onto the tropical rainforest from the very highest level.
Places like the Eden Project gives especially children a chance to get a sort of taster of what to expect. But if it was meant to be a sort of reality, they'd have to get someone to sort of prick you 1,000 times with pins, because the insects, the biting insects come in, and a lovely big sort of tasty human body is perfect for all the mosquitoes and the little midges and things. And the next thing would be the sounds, because the sounds of the rainforest are some of the most diverse and loudest in the world, and that's both during the day and at night. It's often deafening. Most habitats, such as a desert, you get a big flat plain and everything lives in 2 dimensions. But in the rainforest, because you're living in a 3-dimensional habitat, you literally find thousands of species simply by standing in one location and turning around 360 degrees and looking upwards.
What's that little thing? Is it a plant?
No, it's just camouflage.
So these are the things that you don't get. But as an idea of giving you the sort of the enormity of the plants and the diversity, I think things like the Eden Project do a really good job.
Can be what? Eaten.
A lot of kids think plants are boring. They don't move. They don't do very much. I've spoken to so many children over the years, and you say, what's photosynthesis? And they go, carbon dioxide and sugar, and get it all mixed up. And there's this basic concept that what children don't learn from the age dot is that plants keep them alive. Plants produce our oxygen, they provide our clothes, they provide our food, they provide our fuel, they provide our shelter. And as well as that, they do things like control global warming. They regulate the climate on the planet, they regulate the water on the planet, they recycle everything on the planet. They're vital for our survival. So what we do here is try to immerse children right in the true experience of plants.
When the children return from the tropical rainforest, as part of the scenario, the story that we've told them, we ask them to consider what 5 pieces of equipment they would take to the tropical rainforest with them to survive. And they're usually pretty good. They come up with tents and hammocks and machetes and things. The 5th the children don't always come up with was a compass.
If you were parachuted into the rainforest and had to survive by yourself for several days, it's perfectly possible to do that, because there is in this habitat everything one needs as a human being to survive. And indeed there are races of people who live there permanently and have done forever. I'm not saying it would be uncomfortable, but once you get through all the unpleasantness and the discomfort, you can survive quite well.
The Eden Project isn't just about personal survival. It's about survival of the entire planet. The Education Centre is the core of Eden, both in name and philosophy. Besides 4 classrooms, this imaginative building houses an equally imaginative display about our planet and the way we use it.
This is the plant processor. Those are tobacco plants in the middle, which are busy doing their tobacco plant thing and photosynthesising, producing oxygen, which travels down these pipes, and the 8 bell jars contain sculptures which demonstrate the processes that plants provide us. So, for example, this one behind me is all about oxygen, and you can see them all breathing away in there. This one's all about the weather and climate regulation in here.
Please welcome.
You can see the kids are really enjoying it, you can see the teachers are really enjoying it, but the point is, does it actually make a difference? We work with Exeter University and we evaluate every single thing we do. We do a lot of philosophy behind education methodologies.
It's a man floating.
Is the teaching we do effective? Does it actually make a difference? And so far, we're finding we are.
One particular child in the class, he doesn't appear to enjoy school, and kind of in English and maths lessons he switches off. When we actually got there yesterday, I was so surprised at the amount of interaction he had with the guide and the actual things he knew. So it's obviously something that really inspired him.
I don't think you can expect children these days to really cherish the planet if they don't learn about the planet. And it's all very well learning about what makes your habitat tick, whether it's a village or a countryside or a town in Britain, if you don't realise and understand what makes the earth tick. And no one in the future is going to be bothered about saving rainforests if they don't know about rainforests. Places like the Eden Project have a huge role to play, in many ways like the better zoos do. No one's going to put their hand in the pocket to make a donation to save a polar bear unless they've seen a polar bear. And it's the same with appreciating rainforests. You know, many kids, their only opportunity to go is to go somewhere like the Eden Project, where they can see a little sort of self-contained sort of biome of the whole thing. So we have to get this into children at a very early age, get them fired up, get them demanding that the big companies and the big governments do something about it. We have been the custodians. We haven't done a very good job. They are going to be the custodians. They will do a better job.
We sometimes call it a museum of the future, because it's not about things that happened, it's about things that are happening now and things that are going to happen. So we have a very dynamic education programme which tries to keep very, very much up to date with what the curriculum's doing, and sometimes goes ahead of what the curriculum's doing. Teachers are now coming to us and saying, what's happening with climate change? What's happening with science ethics? And what our job is a conduit to communicate that to teachers so that they can pass it on.
Yeah, okay, let's go then. Our objectives in the broadest terms are to change the world, really. Eden Project isn't about saying, oh, isn't the environmental crisis all terrible and we're all doomed. We want to show people how we're connected to the wider world, both the natural world and the people in the wider world, but also show the things that we can all do as individuals to make a difference. The other thing that we really feel we can do as far as children and young people is offer a place to celebrate them and to celebrate the brilliant things that they're capable of.
You can find further information on this and other similar school trips by looking under the Resources and Support Materials section on our website, www.teachers.tv/worth the trip.